When you're on your knees, when you're devastated and overwhelmed and in deep pain, it's very difficult to be able to look up and understand that you are going to be okay, that your life has not ended, your child's life has not ended, and that somehow with love, patience, and guidance, you and your child, your family will be okay. Hi, I'm Bridget Shipman, and I am the host and creator of A Mother's Guide Through Autism podcast. What I'm going to be talking about, and I introduced it in the last episode, I'm going to be talking about the number one piece of essential advice that I would give, that I do give, to any moms that come to me and that have come to me over these past 30 years. When I started working with other mothers, I was in fact a teacher, and I was still in a place where I didn't really know how to heal my heart. I hadn't gone through my life coaching classes. I didn't get any coaching from anybody. I just was on, it was just random. I just went from one experience to the next, finding beautiful people. I call them earth angels along the way to help me navigate my life and how to help my son, and really how to find our next step. There was no rhyme or reason. I was just fortunate enough when I would be looking for resources that I would find other mothers to help me. And boy, I did. And they're lifelong friends. And I can't express to you how important it is for you to reach out to other moms for you on this journey. Number one. Okay. So as I introduced this in the last episode, I wanted you to know that this number one essential piece of advice comes from the very, very beginning of what I experienced on my ASD journey. When I first found out that my son was on the autistic spectrum, I reflect back, and what would have been a huge piece of comfort for me was to hear this from another mom that had a grown child and had years and years of experience of living on this autism journey as a mother. And so my first thing I want to say to you, if you're at the very beginning of this journey, you're going to be okay. And for that to be my number one piece of essential advice, I want you to understand that the reason I feel like this is number one is because when you're on your knees, when you're devastated and overwhelmed and in deep pain, it's very difficult to be able to look up and understand that you are going to be okay, that your life has not ended, your child's life has not ended, and that somehow with love, patience, and guidance, you and your child, your family will be okay. I want you to really take that in. As I had suggested in the last episode, I am hoping that as you listen to each of these pieces of essential advice, that you have a journal and that you are journaling each topic as we move through them. So for today, knowing you're going to be okay. So the topic to journaling today is, I am going to be okay. I believe I'm going to be okay. And journal about hearing those words. Go to your pain. Know that it's going to be difficult, that it's going to be a struggle, and that you will find the answers and the help that you need. But for today, take a breath. I believe that I have a knowingness that when I reflect back to my 32-year-old self, that knowing, if I could have heard that from somebody who is paying it forward, right? In knowing that it's going to be okay, that it's a deep breath of hope. Knowing you're going to be okay is a deep breath of hope. So when you take that breath and you breathe in, I'm going to be okay, you will feel lighter and you will feel hope being able to come back in. I've experienced the darkness on this journey, but I've also found the joy, the beautiful gifts, and I would not trade it. Had you have asked me that, I don't know, when I was 32, when I first found out Joseph was going to be living with a disability for the rest of his life, I would have said, no way. I don't want to do this. I don't want to live this. I don't want to experience this. Absolutely not, because it's painful and I don't know what to do. And I don't know which direction to go into, and I don't know who I can talk to. It's lonely, it's difficult, but I want to create a shift for you today. So, number one, you're going to be okay. Your child's going to be okay. And your family is going to be okay. So as I have traveled on the ASD journey, I have, again, made many friendships. I've made new friends these past few years that Joseph and I have been doing this podcast, and they're valuable. These moms that I have on Mother's Guide Through Autism are also paying it forward. While they're helping their children, they're helping all of our children. And I think it's really important. And there's a great value in community as we travel together. One of my dear friends that I was speaking to, and I've heard this before, but she told me, she said, if we can just shift our perspective of finding out that our child has a disability, a lifelong disability, and reference that and really make the shift, really find a way to feel lighter through somebody else's writing and stories, like I'm doing, right? Like you're doing. Some of you that listen in are bloggers. You are all also finding answers for your children, whether they're diets, whatever it is, different therapies that we share together, and also our hopes and dreams as moms for our children. And she introduced me, and you may have heard of it, but I hadn't. And I was already doing this podcast when I had heard of this. And it's from a fellow mom, Emily Perl Kingsley, who wrote Welcome to Holland. And I felt like her writing really fit well into what I'm talking about with the number one piece of essential advice, is that you are going to be okay. And Emily's writing really offers a great shift if you are at the very beginning of your journey, even if you're anywhere on your journey, because this really made a huge shift for me. I was like, wow, this is great. This is a wonderful way to look at our journey on with ASD as a mom. So I'm going to share this with you. And this is, again, Emily Perl Kingsley. Welcome to Holland. You can find it. I think it's worth keeping and reflecting on it. And you may add this piece to your journaling from the number one essential piece of advice. Welcome to Holland by Emily Perl Kingsley. I'm often asked to describe the experience of raising a child with a disability, to try to help people who have not learned that unique experience to understand it, to imagine how it would feel. It's like this. When you're going to have a baby, it's like planning a fabulous vacation trip to Italy. You buy a bunch of guidebooks and make your wonderful plans. The Colosseum, the Michelangelo David, the gondole in Venice. You may learn some handy phrases in Italian. It's all very exciting. After months of eager anticipation, the day finally arrives. You pack your bags and off you go. Several hours later, the plane lands. The stewardess comes in and says, "Welcome to Holland." Holland, you say? What do you mean, Holland? I signed up for Italy. I'm supposed to be in Italy. All my life, I've dreamed of going to Italy. But there's been a change in the flight plan. They've landed in Holland, and there you must stay. The important thing is that they haven't taken you to a horrible, disgusting, filthy place full of pestilence, famine, and disease. It's just a different place. So you must go out and buy new guidebooks, and you must learn a whole new language, and you will meet a whole new group of people you would never have met. It's just a different place. It's a slower pace. It's a slower paced than Italy, less flashy than Italy. But after you've been there for a while and you catch your breath, you look around and you begin to notice that Holland has windmills and Holland has tulips. Holland even has Rembrandts. But everyone you know is busy coming and going from Italy. And they're all bragging about what a wonderful time they had there. And for the rest of your life, you will say, yes, that's where I was supposed to go. That's what I had planned. And the pain of that will never, ever, ever, ever go away, because the loss of that dream is a very, very significant loss. But if you spend your life mourning the fact that you didn't get to Italy, you may never be free to enjoy the very special, the very lovely things about Holland. I hope that this has given you an opportunity to shift your perspective. If you're having a day where you are mourning Italy and you really, really want things to be different, I understand that, and that's okay. Sit with that. But when you're ready, remember, you're in Holland that has Rembrandts. Holland has tulips and windmills. And there's beauty there that you haven't even discovered yet. And you're learning to speak a new language. And once you become fluent in that language, you will find even more beauty and understanding and hope, because what you've learned is you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Whether you want to embrace it, or whether you just want to take a breath and realize that, in fact, you are going to be okay. Holland's beautiful. Not to say Italy's not, but we're in Holland right now. So, with all my love, support for all of you, I'm going to hope that you enjoy Holland for today. Journal about this perspective shift and what it might be like if you take a breath of hope and realize that, in fact, you are going to be okay. And that although this is not what you had planned, that you are going to be just fine. If you liked this episode, if you're enjoying A Mother's Guide Through Autism podcast, if you would subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a review, that just helps us get out to more mothers. And that is the intention of Joseph and my work, is to reach as many moms as we can, to offer hope and knowledge and inspiration. I'll see you in the next episode.